The women are getting dog walked, okay? I see it. I know you see it. We all see it. We've all been seeing it against our will.
And I get it. I understand what you seen and what you heard. I understand. I seen it and heard it as well.
We're not here to throw shade on anybody. We are not here to talk about any shoulda, coulda, wouldas with anybody's particular situation. We are here to get honest with ourselves about what we're seeing in modern day dating and why this has us all falling to our knees in the middle of a Walmart. Let's be honest, for a lot of women, being in a relationship feels less like love and more like an emotional audition that we never even signed up for in the first doggone place. Most of us show up, we give, we pour, we inspire, we hope, and somehow, somewhere along the way, we get blindsided, we get embarrassed, discarded, betrayed. And then people will really look at you in your eye and tell you, oh, well, you were just choosing wrong and you were just ignoring the red flags. As if that magically solves all of our problems. As if that'll magically send us off into fairyland. Like it somehow stops people from performing for roles that they never wanted to be in the first place. And to that I say, are relationships for women just humiliation rituals? In short, the answer is yes. Yes, they can be. But today, we're just gonna explore that a little bit deeper. It's so horrible out here in the dating scene because there are emotional gaps. And it's so much deeper and so much more complex than just choosing better. The ultra sad part about all of this is right now, women are actually choosing better, okay? We are in therapy or have been to therapy. We are unlearning our traumas. We are journaling our deepest and darkest emotions, checking our patterns. Most of us are doing some kind of self improvement work. And actually, a lot of us are spending a lot of time even just choosing ourselves. But when something heartbreaking or unfair actually does happen to us, we are always told it's somehow our fault for not knowing the future, okay, for not reading people's minds. Some have even gone on to say that we are manifesting things like this into our lives, and I think that is really just intellectually lazy. Yes, discernment matters, vetting matters. Having a good sense of self worth and self esteem can keep you out of certain situations, okay? But, baby, babe, none of that is promised to protect or shield you from everything that you may encounter because there are still outliers and factors that are completely beyond our control. Like the fact that people outside of us have free will, all right? And what people do with the free will that they have, especially men, they use it to perform, pursue you with intention, get you comfortable, learn what you like and don't like, make you feel like it's safe enough to open up, and then straight up hit the brakes or turn your life upside down. Maybe they are outwardly confident but emotionally spineless. Maybe they perform safety but crumble under the weight of emotional intimacy. Maybe they say they want a family and then turn around and abandon that same family. But wait. We also have to name the nuance here as well, because there are some women out here that actually choose blatantly garbage guys and call themselves lover girls. Okay, we see it all the time. We see it far too often. But everybody is not choosing wrong. That's impossible because in many cases the performance was just right before the curtains closed. And the core issue is there is a systemic emotional disconnect between men and women, one that has existed in society for generations upon generations. And it's always been there. It's always been there. We are just more violently aware of it now. And it's dragging us by our edges. Cheating, lying, public embarrassment. Alright, if you think about it, things like this should not be so common in relationships where two grown adults mutually agreed to be in said relationship. I am willing to bet that your horrible ex wanted you first for whatever twisted and self-serving reason he had in his mind. But toxic and degrading behaviors are way too normalized and they're minimized. People love to defend the degeneracy, okay? People love to use the excuse of, well, we all make mistakes and nobody's perfect and we're all human beings, we all make mistakes. Okay, But we also got to think about, are these mistakes? Okay, are these actually mistakes? And what is a mistake? Is it a mistake or a choice? And are these patterns of what's to come? Are they character flaws? I also want people to know and recognize that minimizing humiliation actually perpetuates more and more cycles of mistreatment. Okay, that's why we have to call it like we see it. We have to call it out. We have to be honest about it. We have to publicly shame those who are doing the bad thing instead of choosing to publicly shame those who have bad things happen to them. And love is not just a feeling, okay? It's a choice. Relationships can be hard, okay? There are some ups and downs, all right? But Ray micro cheating and DMing the same girl 3 times is not the ups and downs. It's not. Love and relationships require accountability and responsibility. It's not rocket science. And if everybody got into relationships understanding that they need to hold themselves accountable, things wouldn't be as humiliating. So many people are operating like they're 12 years old, and it's making things insufferable. Now, let's just be real for a second, okay? Women, no matter how much we hear about women being done dog dirty, all right? Women are still gonna date men. Unfortunately, sexuality is not a choice.
You stupid.
Even after all the horror stories, even after we all scream into the void about the ills of the patriarchy, even after you watch your homegirl get emotionally body slammed by the same guy for the 5th time, she is more than likely gonna get up, get right on up, and try again, which is honestly pretty human. I can't even be mad at that. But in that case, what's next? What's actually gonna help women? Well, here's my 2 cents. If you're gonna engage in relationships, you are gonna have to go into them with eyes wide open. All right, not with rose colored glasses on, not for potential, but with awareness of what you could be getting into and what may come in the future. You can't go into them thinking that certain things could just never happen to you. And you have to know exactly what you want from said relationship. You also have to accept that you cannot control the outcome. All you can control is yourself. I don't care how healed you think you are or what kind of man you think you can attract. Everyone wants to focus way too much on like very specific tips and tricks and strategies to avoid pain. At the end of the day, the actual in real life acts of self preservation are going to look different for all of us. And that's why we have to develop our own strategies for our own lives, our own situations, and the kinds of relationships that we desire. At the super end of the day, at the super end of the day, things could still go left. You could still get hurt. But that part doesn't even matter for real. That's not the actual part that matters. What matters the most is how will you respond if things fall apart? Can you pick yourself back up? Can you walk away? Can you fight for your self respect? Can you stand alone? Those are the questions because honestly, it's consequences to every relationship and everything has a cost. Even the girlies who say they date for money only still may pay a price. So, what cost are you willing to accept? What are you willing to risk? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? What does it cost you to stay? Now, some women decide that it's not worth the risk at all and they just stop dating completely, which is super valid, and I see y'all. But for the ones who stay in the game, I see y'all as well. I love y'all just the same. Y'all have to prioritize boundaries over butterflies. Leave the first time. Okay, if something is making you feel insecure or sad out of nowhere, leave. If it's draining you, leave. If something's off and you can't shake it, leave. If your intuition is screaming at you, girl, just leave. You may not always catch the red flags or recognize the signs as quickly as you may have wanted to because you're human, but when you finally do see the truth, you have to be strong enough and love yourself enough to move around and protect yourself. That's how you turn something that could have been a 10-year-long humiliation ritual into just one bad page of your story. Now, friend, I'm not here to tell women whether they should date or stop dating. Okay, that's not my job. That's not why I'm here. Bookie, because that's truly a personal decision. I don't know anybody's life, goals, aspirations, or nothing like that. I am not here to divide women. I'm gonna talk to y'all just like I would talk to my homegirls. If they choose to date or not date, I still love them and support them all the same. But I will say this: if you fear pain and disappointment and you know that certain kinds of pain will really just throw you off track, okay, maybe consider not getting in the field because nothing can save you but yourself. And if you do get in the field, make your play, but no, you may either win or lose. Because personally, I don't think that we should expect the worst, but I also don't think we have to expect the best either. Okay, I feel like we should handle things on a case by case basis, my love. And please, for the love of God, stop looking to other people's relationships as a representation of what could be possible. Okay, because I'm sure there's some great relationships out there, right? But we don't know them folks. All right? We don't know them. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors or what's going on behind those Instagram posts. Me personally, I have decided that I'm not going to live my life thinking that I'm the exception to the pattern that we have seen our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties, our homegirls, our sisters endure in their relationships. I'm also not going to ignore the humiliating patterns that I've experienced in some of my own relationships. It doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of being the exception, and it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of having an amazing relationship and truly being loved. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that I accept reality. And in that reality, I choose to be prepared, not overly hopeful and not overly paranoid either. Because I know that if I do get in the field and I do get hurt, even in the face of pain, I know that recovery is possible as long as I put myself first to begin with. Love and relationships is essentially a contact sport, okay? You will get hurt if you play, but it can range from just being uncomfy and annoyed to it being life altering. It just depends, and you can be humiliated in one relationship and feel empowered in another. You may win some and you may lose some. At the same time, I'm not gonna get on the ride without my helmet anymore. If I even choose to get on the ride at all, because I have that choice. I am gonna do my best to protect myself and move in my best interest, no matter what. And you have the power to do that same exact thing. Well, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you still in the field or are you hanging up your jersey? Let's talk about it. As always, stay gorgeous, and I will see you in the next one.